Hello everyone, and welcome back to Carnivorous Plants Hub. In today's video, we're talking about something that can seriously level up your Venus Flytrap game, feeding them supercharged bloodworms. Bloodworms all by themselves are already an absolute power meal for Venus Flytraps, kind of like a steak dinner. But today, I'm going to show you how to turn that steak into a 5-star bodybuilder buffet. This simple upgrade can help your Venus Flytraps grow bigger traps, stronger leaves, and more vigorously than ever before. But quick disclaimer, this is an advanced technique. If your Venus Flytrap is struggling, adjusting to new conditions, or not looking its best, this is not the time to try this. Always make sure your plant is healthy first. This method is for growers who already have strong, established Flytraps and want to take them from awesome to absolutely incredible. And today, I've got quite the lineup for you. A whole cast of Venus Flytraps ready for feeding time. I'll be showing you 2 different methods to prepare and supercharge these bloodworms, so you can choose what works best for you and your plants. Before we jump in, I've got something I'm really excited to share with you. I'm officially launching bloodworm feeding kits on my website, carnivorousplantshub.com. If you've ever wanted an easy, no guesswork way to feed your Venus Flytraps, this kit has everything you need. You can grab the full kit with all the tools, or if you just need refills, you can pick up the bloodworms by themselves. Here's what comes in the kit: a precision pair of tweezers, a water dropper, a toothpick for feeding the traps, and a small prep container for hydrating your bloodworms. Everything I personally use, all in one setup. And in just a few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to use each tool step by step so you can feed your Flytraps like a pro. Now let's introduce the real stars of today's video, the bloodworms. If you order a bag from carnivorousplantshub.com, this is the exact amount you'll receive. Take a look at these. Bloodworms get their name because they contain hemoglobin, just like human blood, which gives them that deep red color. That hemoglobin allows them to survive in low oxygen environments like muddy pond bottoms and lake beds. And here's something a lot of people don't know. They aren't actually worms. They're the larvae of non-biting midges, a small fly that looks kind of like a mosquito. The ones you're seeing here are freeze-dried. They're commonly used to feed tropical fish, and they also make an incredible high-protein meal for Venus Flytraps and other carnivorous plants. Now I'm going to show you 2 different ways to prepare these worms so your Flytraps can digest them properly and get the maximum growth boost possible. Let's do it. Here's the part you don't see many people talking about. My secret ingredient, Super Thrive. And trust me, I know, fertilizer is bad for Venus Flytraps. And normally, yes, that's true. But remember, this is an advanced move. If your Venus Flytraps aren't already healthy, actively growing, and well established, don't try this yet. Master the basics first. What we're doing here isn't pouring fertilizer into the soil. That would absolutely damage them. We're using a very diluted maintenance dose to rehydrate the bloodworms. You can absolutely use plain distilled water, and your Flytraps will still get a fantastic nutritional boost. But if you want to truly supercharge growth, adding a tiny amount of Super Thrive to your distilled water can help accelerate the process. I use the maintenance dosage, 1/4 teaspoon per gallon of water. Very light, very controlled, and very intentional. Think of it as upgrading their protein shake with greens. Before we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out to someone who really knows his stuff. That's Matt Miller over at Flytrap Store. I actually reached out to Matt about this method because I wanted to make sure I wasn't completely crazy experimenting with it. And he confirmed that he's used this technique as well to help supercharge his Venus Flytraps. That gave me even more confidence to test it consistently. I've been using this method for about the last month, and the results have been fantastic so far. And if you've ever purchased a Flytrap from Flytrap Store, then you already know they grow some absolutely incredible carnivorous plants. When it comes to Venus Flytraps, Matt knows his stuff, so credit where credit is due. Real quick, I want to add a safety note. Some people can have mild allergic reactions to bloodworms, especially in their dry, powdered form. If you know you have sensitivities, or if you've never handled bloodworms before, you may want to consider wearing gloves while handling them. And if you're grinding them into powder, wearing a mask is a good idea. When you blend freeze-dried worms, fine dust particles can become airborne. A simple mask can help prevent you from inhaling or ingesting any of that dust. Once the worms are hydrated, the airborne risk is basically gone, so you can remove the mask. I'd still recommend gloves if you're going to be handling the mix directly, just to be safe. Personally, I don't have any sensitivity to bloodworms, so I don't use protective gear. But everyone's different, It's always better to be cautious, especially when working with fine organic powders. Alright, let's jump into the first preparation method. If you grab the Bloodworm Feeding Kit from carnivorousplantshub.com, you'll have this small plastic container for hydrating your worms. If not, no worries, just use any small clean container for mixing. Inside the kit you'll also find a toothpick for feeding the Venus flytrap, a water dropper, and yes, the back pulls off so you can clean it easily. The dropper also has measurement markings for precise measuring if needed. And a pair of flat paddle tweezers. That flat paddle tip is important, and in just a minute I'll show you exactly why. Let's start prepping these worms. Grab your water dropper. Again, plain distilled water works perfectly fine, but if you want to supercharge this process, use your diluted Super Thrive mix, 1/4 teaspoon per gallon of distilled water. Now I'm going to use the dropper and add just enough liquid to fully wet the worms. We're not making bloodworm soup. You don't want a big puddle sitting in the container, just enough moisture so every worm gets hydrated. Once the water is in, take your flat paddle tweezers and gently start mixing everything around. Move the worms through the water so they can absorb it evenly. It may take a minute. Freeze-dried worms need a little time to soak it in, but you'll see them start to soften and plump up. And once they're fully hydrated, they're ready to go. This method works beautifully for regular-sized Venus flytraps with medium to large traps. But if you're feeding smaller flytraps or tiny traps on young plants, the next method might be even better. For this method, we're going to break the worms down into much smaller pieces. You can crush them manually, but I'll be honest, it gets tedious fast. So I picked up this small food processor. It was about $15 on Amazon, link in description. And it does an excellent job turning freeze-dried bloodworms into a fine powder. And this processor is only used for bloodworms, nothing else. It charges via USB-C, which is super convenient. All you have to do is dump the worms in, put the lid back on and press the power button, and let the blending begin. In just a few seconds, you'll have a much finer texture that's perfect for feeding smaller traps. After a few seconds of blending, you'll be left with this beautiful, fine bloodworm powder, nice and fluffy, perfect for small traps. Once you pour the powder back into your prep container, we're going to rehydrate it the same way as before. Grab your water dropper and start adding small amounts of your distilled water, or your diluted liquid fertilizer mix if you're going advanced. Add a little at a time. Here's how both methods look once they're fully hydrated and ready to feed. On this side, whole rehydrated worms. On this side, powdered mix. Both work great, it just depends on the size of your traps. Even though it's an extra step, I've actually switched to using the powder method for almost all of my feedings. At first I thought grinding them up would just be optional, but after using both methods consistently, I really started to prefer the powdered mix. Here's why. I find the powder to be a little more concentrated, a little easier to control, and much cleaner to feed, especially when you're working with a lot of plants. And since I have a pretty big collection, convenience matters. When you're feeding 1 or 2 fly traps, either method works great, but when you're feeding trays and trays of traps, efficiency becomes very important. The powdered mix lets me move quickly, place the food precisely, and get consistent results across the entire collection. So while both methods absolutely work, the powder method has officially become my go-to. Let's feed some hungry traps. We're going to start with the G17. Just look at those colors. Deep red interior, nice wide traps. This plant is ready for a meal. For this first feeding, I'm using the fully rehydrated whole bloodworms with tweezers. You can use either the toothpick or the tweezers to place the food inside the trap. Personally, I prefer the toothpick for actual feeding. Here's why. The tweezers make it easier to grab the food, but the toothpick makes it easier to position it inside the trap. The only downside is that the toothpick can sometimes make it harder to measure the exact amount. For very tiny traps though, the toothpick is absolutely the way to go. Now, watch closely. Sometimes when using tweezers, you might accidentally pull a bit of the food back out as you're adjusting it. If that happens, don't force it. Just grab your toothpick and gently nudge the food deeper into the trap. And here's something very important. Try not to leave any bloodworms sticking out of the trap. If the trap can't fully seal, because food is hanging out, it may struggle to digest properly. Sometimes when a trap doesn't seal correctly, that individual trap can rot and die. The plant will still benefit from the nutrients, but that trap likely won't survive long term. So take your time. Make sure everything is tucked neatly inside before stimulating the trap to seal. Here's a really important tip. This is actually a great time to trim away old, dead Venus flytrap growth. But I recommend feeding your traps before you start pruning, because while you're cutting away dead leaves, you're almost guaranteed to accidentally trigger some traps. And once a trap is triggered and closes, you won't be able to feed that specific trap until it reopens. So feed first, then clean up. Now, if you're trying to feed a specific trap and it's blocked by old growth, go ahead and carefully clear that obstruction first. Making sure the trap can close completely is critical. You want a clean seal around the food. Now let's talk about something a lot of people misunderstand. Venus flytraps require a secondary trigger response to fully seal and begin digestion. When a trap snaps shut, that's just the first step. Closing takes a lot of energy, so the plant needs confirmation that it actually caught something worth digesting. If a trap closes because of a raindrop or a leaf, there's no secondary trigger. The trap will reopen in a day or two and reset. But if a live insect is inside, it moves around, touching the sensitive trigger hairs multiple times. That repeated stimulation signals to the plant that it has caught a real live insect. That's when the trap seals tightly and digestion begins. Since we're feeding dead bloodworms, we have to simulate that movement. That's why I gently squeeze the trap after placing the food inside. I usually squeeze the trap very gently, about 20 to 40 times. Just light pressure. You're basically mimicking a struggling insect. You can use your fingers for this. If your fingers don't fit outside the trap comfortably, you can use your tweezers. But be extremely gentle. You do not want to puncture or damage the trap. And yes, you're probably going to trigger other traps during this process. Don't sweat it. You're giving the plant a power meal. Accidentally triggering a few neighboring traps is not going to hurt it. The key is being gentle, precise, and patient. Before we jump into how often to feed, how much to feed, and some pro-level tips, I just want to say thank you. Seriously, I truly appreciate every single one of you who watches these videos, leaves comments, asks questions, and supports this channel. Carnivorous Plants Hub wouldn't be growing without you. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to pour a little distilled water on that like button and subscribe to help this channel grow. It really does make a difference. And if you haven't already, head over to carnivorousplantshub.com after this video. In addition to the new bloodworm feeding kits, I also offer Venus flytrap repotting kits, and they're great for other carnivorous plants too. I make my own premium carnivorous plant soil blend, and I'll be honest, I believe it's one of the best blends you can find anywhere. I've spent years refining the ratios. I pre-rinse everything and thoroughly sift the peat moss to remove debris. The result is a clean, balanced, ready-to-use mix designed specifically to help carnivorous plants thrive. You can grab the soil by itself or get the complete repotting kit, which includes the planter and everything you need. If you're serious about growing strong, healthy fly traps, good soil is just as important as good feeding. Check out the link in the description and the pinned comment after you're done watching. I'm so excited to be teaming up with California Carnivores. They are one of the most experienced and knowledgeable carnivorous plant nurseries in the entire world. They have a massive selection year-round of all types of carnivorous plants. There will definitely be something in their nursery that you fall in love with. On top of that, they have been generous enough to offer my viewers an exclusive 10% discount on their order when they enter Bug Eater at checkout. That's Bugeater, Bug Eater. I have links in the description and the pinned comment, so you can head on over and pick out the perfect carnivorous plant to add to your collection. You know you deserve it. Let's go ahead and head on back to the video. Now let's talk about how much food to use, because this is critical. A good rule of thumb is try to keep the food at no more than about 1/3 to 1/2 the size of the trap. Don't completely stuff the trap full. If you overload it, the trap may struggle to seal properly, and if it can't seal tightly, that trap can eventually rot and die. I'll be honest, I may have slightly overfilled a couple of these today, but I was still able to get a good seal on all of them, so I think it will be just fine. If you notice anything sticking out after the trap closes, gently remove it with your tweezers or poke it inside the trap with your toothpick. You want everything neatly tucked inside. A clean seal will typically lead to successful digestion. Let's talk about how often you should feed your fly traps. For larger Venus fly traps, I recommend feeding no more than 2 traps per growth point every 2 to 3 weeks. You do not want to overfeed. 2 traps filled with this high-protein superfood is more than enough to give the plant a serious nutrient boost. If you have a smaller fly trap, Feeding one trap every 2 to 3 weeks is usually perfect. Remember, these plants are designed to survive in nutrient-poor soil. Feeding is a bonus, not a requirement. We're enhancing growth, not forcing it. If I'm feeding 2 traps on the same plant, I usually try to feed traps on opposite sides. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure that actually matters biologically. I suspect it probably doesn't. But in my mind, if there are multiple growth points and it's hard to tell them apart, feeding opposite sides feels like I'm evenly distributing nutrients. The UK sawtooth here is a great example of a plant with 2 distinct growth points. They're both fairly small, so I'm going to feed just 1 trap on each growth point. That's more than enough for a plant this size. Once you're done feeding, try to remember which traps you worked on. I recommend going back to each fed trap and giving it another gentle round of about 20 squeezes, just to make absolutely sure that secondary trigger response was activated. That's when it begins releasing digestive enzymes to break down the worms and turn them into that nutrient-rich soup your flytrap will absorb over the next several days. A little extra stimulation now can make the difference between a full digestion and a trap reopening early. The cool part? Bloodworms aren't just for Venus flytraps, they work on other carnivorous plants too. Sarracenia pitcher plants can be fed by simply dropping a small blob of the hydrated mix into an active pitcher. Just make sure there's a little water already in the bottom of the pitcher. That liquid helps break everything down so the plant can absorb the nutrients properly. No squeezing required. The pitcher does the work. The American pitcher plant isn't the only pitcher that can benefit from bloodworms. You can also feed a Nepenthes pitcher plant a blob of bloodworms. Same as the Sarracenia, just make sure there is a little water in the bottom. Sundews are even easier. Just place a small amount directly onto the sticky, dewy tentacles. No secondary trigger needed. The plant will curl around the food and begin digesting automatically. I haven't personally tested this mix on pings yet. I suspect it would probably work fine in small amounts, but I'm not excited about the idea of a huge glob of bloodworm stuck my ping leaves, so that's still experimental territory for me. If I test it, I'll definitely report back. Now, here's something that might surprise some people. I've actually started feeding my fly traps during winter dormancy. You probably noticed some of the traps today close pretty slowly. That's because these plants are still in dormancy mode. I'm about to bring them out of dormancy soon, but they're technically still in winter mode right now. And feeding during this period won't hurt them. In fact, giving them a nutrient boost during dormancy can help ensure they absolutely explode with growth once spring arrives. They'll hit the ground running, and you may see some of the strongest growth you've ever seen from your plants. Now I want to show you something really cool. You can even feed the tiniest Venus flytraps. For these small traps, always use the powdered mix, not the full worms. Load the absolute smallest amount you can onto the tip of your toothpick. Less is more here. And don't underestimate these tiny traps. Even at this size, most Venus flytraps are fully functional and capable of digesting food. Once you get the food inside, gently squeeze the trap just like you would with a larger one to trigger that secondary response. For these tiny traps, you'll definitely want to use tweezers to help stimulate them. Your fingers are just too large to be precise at this scale. Make sure you are super gentle with fly traps this small. They can be super delicate. Now take a look at this. We only used about a quarter of the bag today. I fed 9 Venus fly traps, and we still have a ton of hydrated mix left. That's perfectly fine for me because I've got plenty more plants to feed. Once you rehydrate the bloodworms, the worms won't last more than a couple days, so make sure when you rehydrate them, you plan on using them immediately. But if you only have 1 or 2 fly traps, this bag will last you a long time. Freeze-dried bloodworms have about a 2-year shelf life if you keep the bag sealed and store it in a cool, dry place. That means you're basically stocked with flytrap food for the next couple of years. This single bag could easily feed a collection of 15 to 20 fly traps over the course of a year, and you'd probably still have some left over. It might look like a small amount, but because you use such tiny portions per feeding, it stretches incredibly far. If you have any questions about feeding your Venus flytraps bloodworms, drop them in the comments below. And if you want to learn the right way to repot your Venus flytrap, check out the video popping up on the screen right now. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I can't wait to see you in my next video.